everyone. Oh gosh, the voice nearly didn't come out then. Let's try that again. Hello everybody. Welcome to Pelvic Floor Lives 2024. Can't believe we are like 3 weeks into January and I'm starting this. But when your kids don't get back to school until what feels like mid-January, I don't think it was mid-January, but it was basically like the second week. And we've had both kids' birthdays, so it's all been a bit wild and getting back to clinics, which has been great fun. So I've been slightly delayed in kicking off and getting consistent on socials, but today is the beginning of that. So Pelvic Floor Live, for anyone new around here who's not joined us before, I do these sessions ideally every other week. They're just 15 minutes long and we just come together and I talk you through pelvic floor exercises. We just try and work together to make sure that you guys know how to do your pelvic floor exercises. You can ask me any questions. And my mission is basically to get you as confident as possible to either help your symptoms or just be proactive about your pelvic health. So without further ado, I mean, last year they're all saved. So if you want to go back through any of the others, we kind of worked through kind of breath and pelvic floor and stuff like that. What I wanted to do today is almost just build on that and just try and make sure we can just do a full set and bring it back together and then answer any questions. Or if there's anything specific that you want me to do in these sessions, I'm all ears. I want to make these relevant to you and what you guys want. So always feel free to pop that in the commentsy bit or send me a DM or something like that, and I will flex these sessions as to what you guys kind of want, because they are for you at the end of the day, though I definitely benefit because I do them with you. So let's get them all. So let's just try today. We started a bit of endurance last time, but I think what we'll try and do is 10 no holds and then do a little bit of holding with our breath control, and we'll build from there. So in case this says, I'm sorry, I'm a really squeaky chair, so apologies for that. But if this is your first time, then we'll just recap the technique. So everyone's slightly different, but if you think about holding wind around your back passage, and if you think about this is what it's like, so as I'm sitting here, this is the position of my pelvis, obviously like this, but just so you see a side on view, and you're thinking about that back passage coming forwards to your pubic bone and then releasing and dropping back. So it's not kind of up like this, it's coming forwards to the pubic bone and release, let go. Keep your tummy relaxed, keep your bum relaxed, keep your legs relaxed. It's often less than we think. So let's just go for it together. We're just going to do 10 where you're squeezing on. I'm just going to do this as a visualization so you can visualize it, okay, and see how you go. Any questions, I will definitely come to them. I'm just going to do some squeezes first, okay? But keep them coming. So think about bringing that back passage forwards to the pubic bone and then fully drop and release it. Squeezing forwards, fully drop and release it. Now let's try it with the breath. So breathe in to let go. Breathe out. Squeeze it forwards and then fully release it. Okay, and again, breathe in to release. Breathe out, squeeze to the pubic bone, fully release it. Okay, I think we've done 5. I'm also really terrible at counting. So we might do a little bit more than 10, but let's go with it. So breathe in to release. Breathe out, anus to pubic bone, fully release. Okay, 4 more. So just do your breath in to prepare and then exhale. Squeeze forwards, fully release and drop. 3 more, breathe in, breathe out, squeeze, anus to pubic bone, fully release. Last 2, breathe in, release, breathe out, squeeze, back passage forwards to the pubic bone, let it go, and then 1 last time. Think about your breath in, breathe out, squeeze, anus coming forwards to the pubic bone, fully release. Well done. And you've done 10. Now, I don't personally think when you're starting it needs to be any quicker than that, because it's all about quality over quantity and speed initially. It's all about connecting with the muscles correctly. There is no point of just going squeeze, 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 squeeze if we're not fully relaxing and if we're not actually connecting with the muscle correctly. So start at that sort of speed. If you want to go up from there, brilliant, but try to just take it steady initially. And that's it. Basically what I want you to feel is a squeeze around the back and a squeeze around the front, but without loads of tightening. Okay, let's just have a quick go at a question and then we'll go on to our holds. So postpartum, did some star jumps, felt needed to wee, but didn't. Do you think I shouldn't do them again for a while? Great question. So sometimes that sensation of suddenly needing a wee is because there is a lot more pressure on the area that we would call the bladder neck, so the area between the urethra and the bladder. So your bladder's here and this is your urethra. So obviously when you do a wee, maybe not obviously because no one teaches us this stuff, your bladder contracts and then urine comes out of the urethra. Now whenever there's pressure, there's more pressure. So when we jump, there's more pressure on this area. This area here might have slightly opened a little bit because there's less pelvic floor support and there's less potentially support around the area, and that can create the sensory feeling. Now it's great you didn't leak because obviously your sphincter and your pelvic floor are doing well. Personally, I would ignore that, but I might just think about, with the star jumps, maybe before you go to both legs out, you could even try just jumping on the spot and just see how that feels. Get your body used to that impact, because 15 weeks postpartum is still relatively early days. So we generally say impact stuff earliest 12 weeks. Now my questions for you: have you done some really good pelvic floor rehab? Have you done some pelvic floor exercises in standing first? So you've done a bit of rehab to get your muscles ready for that. Obviously, I don't know your personal birth experience, but we should all really be doing pelvic floor exercises post-birth / for life, but not necessarily as many. But really think about, can you do these exercises in standing? Then I always introduce a bit of just like hopping and jumping initially, just kind of like in the more midline. Then you could go up to, if you're thinking jumping is fine, stepping one leg out at a time. Okay, so doing one side, then the other side. Because often it's just the big splitting that can feel like too much. Then I often do little tiny star jumps, so in and out, and then build up our distance to like proper star jumps. And often, if we do it more gradually and we've done some standing pelvic floor rehab in the middle, that can actually get us to not have that sensation. Because what might happen, for example, if you have that sensation, is that you might be able to do 5 and it's fine, but if you carried on for say a minute, you might then leak, and that might just because the muscles fatigue and get a bit more tired. So I hope that helps. Don't panic, but that I would just say potentially that's your body just gently communicating with you. It's a little bit much and we just need to do a little bit of rehab, and then you'll be star jumping without any problems. So I hope that answers that. Amazing. So let's do some holds, because I'm aware we've all got busy lives and probably all need to be eating lunch at some point soon, and my tummy may grumble at some point during this. So with our holds, the squeeze is the same. So we're always going to be thinking about that back passage forwards and then fully releasing. Okay, we're always going to be doing it like that, but we're now just going to hold it up, and we're just going to start with 5 seconds because 10 seconds can feel like a really long time. We can end up holding our breath and our glutes and everything else. So what I want you to try now is the same squeeze. So what we were thinking about is that back passage squeezing forwards, and you're going to hold it for 2, 3, keep breathing, 4, 5, and then fully release. Now, if you can't feel that full release, it may have already let go, or you may struggle with the release, and therefore what I'd encourage you to do is just take a couple of deep breaths before each squeeze, because sometimes when we start to hold, our body's then like, oh, I quite like to hold, and naturally some of us are in a more of a holding picture throughout the day. And I talk about this generally a lot with stress, or if we've had a difficult experience, or actually we feel quite urgently or frequently we need a wee quite urgently, or we're worried about leaking wind or things like that. We can get into a holding picture in our pelvic floor, and what that means is it's kind of like it's on all the time. And what we actually need to do, if that's us, is to kind of let go first. And this is where pelvic floor exercises, and that's what we're doing here, is much more dimensional than just we do a few squeezes and then we're done, because that doesn't work for all of us. We need to understand the full picture of how it's relevant for us. So if you're struggling to feel the let go, do a few and see, is it that I actually think the muscles have already let go, or is that actually I actually just really struggle to let go? And then I do more around the breathing, and I've got other lives that talk a lot about breathing, and I'm sure I'll be doing it and a lot more still to come. So let's just try that again. All right, let's do it all together. Thinking about bringing that back passage forward. So you're squeezing and engaging, and we're going to hold it there for 5. So breathing in and out, 2, 3, keep going, 4, 5, release, let go. Excellent. So I feel personally a really nice squeeze. I can hold it and then I can drop it. Now, I've been doing this for years and it is my job, so I'm not expecting everyone to feel the same, but what I want you to get to a point is that you feel that same sensation, that you can feel like I'm very aware of when I'm squeezing and I'm very aware of when I'm letting go. Please don't worry. This is not easy stuff. It seems often so simple or banded around as like, just do a few Kegels. But it's not that simple. This is not a muscle that we can easily see. It's not a muscle that we can easily engage with, especially when we're not really educated in this stuff. So lots of self-compassion. If you're finding it hard or you find you're getting self-frustrated, just stick to the on and off for now and really nail that and think, I've got that, and then work on to the endurance. Okay? Let's just do 5 more of the 5-second holds together. Okay, you can carry on and do it while I chat on as well. So feel free to do as many as you want. But thinking about now, if we do it together, squeezing backwards to the pubic bone, holding it there, 2 and 3, keep holding, 4, keep breathing, 5, let go. Try not to hold your breath. That's another one that a lot of us do. Okay, bringing the back passage forwards, holding it there, 2, 3, keep going, 4, keep breathing, 5, release, let go. And again, squeezing forwards, hold it there, 2, 3, keep going, 4 and 5, fully release. And last squeeze, squeezing forwards, hold it there, 2, 3, keep breathing, 4 and 5, and fully release. Now, as you do more reps of that, you might start to be like, I could hold for 5 seconds my first couple, but now I'm really struggling, and actually now I can only hold for a couple of seconds. That's actually a good thing. That means that you're really challenging the muscle and you're pushing it to a position what we would call fatigue. It's starting to fatigue and be like, I'm finding this hard. That's how we challenge muscles, in a similar way to how we train when, if we say we like to lift weights or we like to do squats or things like that. We may not even like to do them, but we do them because we know they're good for us. Generally, you'll get to the point where you're like, my legs are really tired, I can't do another one. That's the body communicating again that the muscle's fatiguing. So it's a very similar thing with our pelvic floor. The pelvic floor are skeletal muscles, which is the same as our quads at the front of our legs and the hamstrings at the back and our biceps and our triceps and our abs. So these muscles like to be worked to that point. But often with our pelvic floor, we generally don't do that because we're generally either not doing enough, we're not challenging them enough, or we just don't know how to quite do it. So I'm aware we're nearly at our 15 minutes, so I was a couple of minutes late. Sorry about that. Any other questions? If not, well done. You've done really well. You've just done basically a set for today. If you can try another one later, amazing. If not, try some more tomorrow. And as I say, it's all the initial stages is all about connection and quality, getting our breath, getting our pelvic floor contracting. We can scale anything from there, but I think what sometimes happens is we go too hard and feeling like we've got to do it 3 times a day. We've got to do 10 holds, we've got to do 10-second holds, we've got to do 10. It's like too much. I wouldn't ever start in the gym by doing loads and loads and loads and loads. I'd always grade it. So it's the same thing. Okay, this is a great question. So, concerned about prolapse, has been checked by a couple of professionals, but still feel like have some symptoms. What could my next steps be? So my questions are, these professionals that you've seen, have they examined you in standing? When do you get your symptoms most? Is it when you're standing up? Is it the end of the day? I think this is, sorry if yes, you're still 15 weeks postpartum. So it can be that there are still just some vaginal wall changes at this stage, especially if you've had a vaginal delivery, because everything just gets quite stretched. Now, I know that sounds scary, but actually we're not educated as women that some of these sensations can be an ongoing thing. And they hopefully will just continue to improve. But that's why we've just got to be mindful of the exercises that we do. If you haven't been examined in standing, that is what I'd probably try and seek out. I don't know if you've seen a physio. Ideally, a physio would do that and examine the walls in standing, because I'm guessing your symptoms are probably more when you're in standing. If you have, and they're still saying, it's the same thing, I'd probably just say, monitor when your symptoms are, if they're after exercise or end of the day, and just think, is there any way of kind of like modifying your exercise and movement to not aggravate those symptoms? Definitely be working on those pelvic floor exercises and standing. And yeah, I think if you've got that prolapse sensation and that kind of exercise sensation, do the things that I've talked about to kind of grade back into that, and hopefully over time, as you strengthen and do those things, that symptom will resolve. But don't feel bad to ask for a second opinion or ask if you can be examined in standing. Oh, great questions coming through. How long should I do the 5-second squeezes and be able to successfully hold before moving to a longer hold? Yeah, great question. I generally say if you can do 10 lots of 5 seconds and that feels fine, then kind of move up to 6 to 7 seconds and then move up to kind of 10 seconds and then be aiming for 10 lots of 10 seconds. There isn't an exact time scale, but I'm a big believer of muscles need to be doing something for probably a few weeks before we start challenging them again. And I would always encourage you, feel really confident in it. There's nothing worse than us pushing ourselves to do more. And then suddenly we're like, oh, I can't do it. And it feels really demoralizing. So if you want to even work at a month and really build up to that 10 lots of 5-second holds and feel really great about that before you move up, then brilliant. Just keep gently pushing on as you're able to. Yes, so a question here about after surgery to remove fibroids a week ago, due back for consultation with a physio 6 weeks. Brilliant. Yes, keep working your pelvic exercise. I'm glad that you're seeing a physio. That is really good news. And yeah, it's just gently getting back into movement and feeling strong again. But yeah, keep going with pelvic exercises. Thank you for joining today. Amazing, guys. So I think I'll be here in 2 weeks' time. You can tell my life at the minute, I'm a little bit week by week because, you know, the old juggle is real, but I love doing these sessions. So I will basically keep you posted on when the next one is. I will be putting up my Q&A box, my normal Q&A box later today. So if you have a question that comes out after this or another question, pop it in there and I will be working through the Q&A tomorrow. And keep joining because I really want us to kind of build on this together, and hopefully this provides some support, especially for those that are maybe struggling to access one-to-one care. Lovely, guys. It's been great to be with you. Stay in touch and I'll see you in 2 weeks unless I tell you otherwise. Take care. Bye.